Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Andrew. Today we are doing the best books of 2022 for me, personally. These are the books I enjoyed the most this year. And I've already done my worst books, most disappointing books, most surprising books, and some of the surprising books are going to make their way into this video because they were just that good. But overall this year I have to say I feel like even in this top 10, only the top 2 were like all-time favorite books for me. So yeah, and we're just gonna get into it. These are ranked from least favorite to most favorite, but they are all top 10. They're all amazing. Obviously, I recommend all of them. So they are mostly fantasy or mystery. There is one romance. So these are all genre fiction, whatever, which is, you know, these are the 3 things I like reading the most, which are fantasy, then mystery, and romance. So let's get into it. Number 10 on my list is going to be Yes Daddy by Jonathan Parks. I honestly didn't pay attention to the author to this, but I was gifted this for my birthday this year, and let me tell you, I didn't expect this to be as good as it was, but it was so thrilling. I talked about it in my most surprising reads of the year, but yeah, it is making its way onto number 10 on my list. It follows a character named Jonah who, you know, he's living in New York and he's not doing so well financially. He comes across this man who he's very obsessed with, and they start a romance, and things kind of go downhill in the romance, and it's so good. And this book just has so many twists and turns and just questioning who is the good person or the bad person. It's so good. Number 9 on my list is going to be the Lost Adventures graphic novel omnibus, I guess you call it, from Avatar: The Last Airbender. So I think I mentioned this in maybe like my fandoms video that Avatar: The Last Airbender is one of my favorite television shows of all time. It is absolutely incredible, and just being with these characters again is all I needed. I think I said this last year, so I've said in other videos in the past that I'm a plot-driven reader, but I don't think that's true. I think I like plot, but because these characters are comfort characters to me, and it was just the most basic of plots, but there were events happening in the book, but you're just kind of hanging out with them in these lost adventures, like these just literal side quest tangents that you get with Toph and Aang and Katara and Sokka. Like, just them, I just love them. And, you know, it's just so good. It's just so good. So that's number 9 on my list. Number 8 on my list is Forever Interrupted, which Taylor Jenkins Reid is making her way onto my best books of the year and my most disappointing books of the year, because this is, I believe, her debut novel. And I did a spoiler-free review for this book, so I will link it on the screen, but it's just so, I think what I like about Taylor Jenkins Reid is the way she writes romance, the way she focuses on romance, the way she develops 2 people falling for each other. I absolutely love it. The way she also gives women so much agency. So I have, I believe, only 3 more books to read by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and then I will be doing a full ranking and reviewing of all of her books, but I absolutely love this. I loved this book. I was trying to listen to it and people kept trying to talk to me, and I told them to shut up because I just wanted to read this book. I do love the way that she does characters. That's just it. That just goes to prove that characters are a very big factor in my enjoyment of a book, and if I don't connect with the character, or, you know, in the instance where I had talked about Carrie Soto was one of my most disappointing, I didn't connect with Carrie as much, but I mean, she still has a lot of that, like, I'm a badass bitch feminine energy, but I just didn't really care about tennis that much. But this was very like Elsie, she's your main character. The first chapter of this book, her husband dies, but then we flash back to like how her and her husband first met and how they fall in love. So like the entire book, you're just flashing back between when he's dead and when he's alive, and all the chapters about when he's alive are so beautiful and amazing, but absolutely heartbreaking because you know it's going to end. Feel free to check out my review if you're interested. So that is number 8 on my list. Now number 7 on my list is going to be The Promise, which is also an Avatar: The Last Airbender So clearly I need to read more of these. I do plan to read like all of them. I just want to kind of save them because I had so few amazing reading experiences this year, and then I was like, let me just try this Avatar comic stuff. It was so phenomenal, so phenomenal. And I just was able to read them through the library, which was amazing. Highly recommend, highly recommend it. But this one, you know, it takes place after the events of the show, which was just puts it a little bit above the loss of interest because that is kind of happening like as the show is progressing, but this is after the show, so we're getting like plot that hasn't really occurred yet. So, I mean, in case you haven't seen the show, I don't want to spoil it for you, but there is a lot of focus here on Aang and a promise that he makes to another character who is a lot of people's favorite character. And it's just so good. I mean, how many times can I say that? It's just so good. Again, the characters are really the standout here, but at the same time, the way that they talk about the different parts of the world, and in the graphic novel you can like see how they're coming off of this war, and they're talking about like certain people being in certain spaces because of the results of the war, and you know, airbenders mixing with earthbenders and firebenders, like having like, or there's earthbenders in the firebender territory, and they're like, well, we want them gone. Like just all of this stuff about like what has occurred as of the result of this war. And where people are, and what it means for the Avatar, and what he needs to do, what he needs to focus on. Like that alone is a piece of it, but also like Aang and his nemesis, I guess, having just such a good dynamic. It's such a good dynamic. So that is number 7 on my list. Now number 6 on my list is a book that I just picked up on a whim. I didn't really know what to think. I had watched, I believe it was Hannah from A Clock Reader. I believe I watched her, was it her romance vlog or something? And she read this one, and I was like, I think me and her have similar interests in romance, maybe. So I picked this up. It's The Charm Offensive by Allison. It's on the screen. I think it's Cochran. Yeah, Allison Cochran. And basically, and I've seen a lot of people picking up her new release, but I haven't read that one yet. But I definitely want to, because The Charm Offensive was so charming. And it follows, like, you have one guy he's like the Bachelor, and he's going on this show, and then he has like a handler producer kind of character, and the handler producer and him just fall in love. But it's just so good. Like their chemistry is really good, and again, I love the way that the characters discuss things and get to know each other and how they go about it. Like it's just so adorable. It's so cute. It was so nice, and I really liked it. I really liked it a lot. You know, it was just one of my favorite things I read this year. I think that there's also some anxiety rep, but what is his name? The two main characters, the one who is actually on the show competing, has a lot of like anxiety, and I remember specifically there's like a scene where he takes in a deep breath and is like Excel spreadsheets, like things that give him comfort, and I was like deeply related to that because I also just feel like Excel spreadsheets, they are just so comforting for me, and I don't know how else to explain it, but yeah, that was the moment. Okay, now we're getting into the top 5 here, which I own all of them, but my number 1 read of the year we can't discuss because I'll get to it when I get to number 1. So number 5 in my list is going to be Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. That's right, it is making its way all the way into my top 10, my top 5 of the year. One of my favorite classics I've ever read. This really just follows Jane as she goes through a journey. She starts off in this home where people kind of like abuse her, and she's kind of not believed in terms of like what occurs with her. This last sentence of the synopsis I feel like really sums it up well, saying that Jane Eyre, is insight into the life of a woman who, despite oppression, tragedy, and precarious circumstances, insists on making the most out of the hand that was dealt to her. And I mean, you're really just following her as she's shipped off to boarding school because her adoptive family doesn't really care about her, and she goes to discover nest for this family, and just every single like place that she goes into, she's so inquisitive. She's so like, I don't know how to describe it. I just know that Jane Eyre, again, as a character, because I'm clearly learning here that as a character, it's like I am a character-driven reader, I guess. I guess last year I didn't connect with characters as much as I did with plot. I don't know. Jane Eyre is an iconic character. And just the things that there are so many instances when I can't really explain. she will be introduced to like another, something will be affecting another woman, and she will be like, okay, but like what does that mean for her? Why are we doing this? Like how does she feel about this? Like, and I mean, like I feel like that's so simple that we should care about other people's feelings, but I mean, it just, I don't know if it's maybe not always written in a novel and it's done when it's, I don't know, it's just done so well in this book. It's just done so well. I love a character who comes up from the slums and just really does it all. Like she just is that bitch. And that's all I have to say on this one. So coming in at number 4 for the year is going to be Chain of Iron. Chain of Iron. Chain of Iron. I read this, I think in March, which is so long ago, but let me tell you, the fantasy, mystery, romance, like this is what I love to read so much. Like it is, and the mystery and the answer to the mystery is so fucking good. It's so good. And the fact that we are how many books deep, and Cassandra Clare is still finding ways to just have me gagging, like have me like, she really did that. Like she really did that with this one. I mean, and again, should have known this, but the characters are so good. I love all of these characters, and I love that there is not one straight person in sight. We love Matthew Fairchild, Anna Lightwood, of course James and Cordelia are absolutely stunning, but all of the Merry Thieves, like I remember like the group name, I remember all the characters like Thomas and Alistair. I have a whole entire spoiler filled review for this book. I will link it as well. There's humor, there's heart, there's... I have talked about Cassandra Clare so much on this damn channel. It's not even funny. She started it all for me. She started my entire obsession with reading, and I will continue reading her books. I will just continue to read her books for a very long time. Like, and she's supposed to have, so we're going to have the conclusion to this come out next year, and then we're also going to be getting the start of a new series by her, which is not even in the Shadowhunter world at all, and I am so intrigued on how that's going to go. I'm very, very curious and nervous, but very curious what will happen in that book. I feel like I talked about this too much. I already have a whole spoiler-filled review for it, like I said. As far as spoiler-free thoughts, there's really not much to say, because even though this is only the second book in a trilogy, it's really not. It's really like the 17th or 18th book she's published in the Shadowhunter world. And of course, knowing all the context of things that have happened before this heavily increase your enjoyment of this particular book. So, but I do think you could read just the Infernal Devices and then this series. I think you would be fine. You're not gonna get all of the, because oh man, knowing what happens in the Dark Artifices, man, I love this world so much. I really do. She really has tied so many time periods together in such fascinating ways. Yeah, so like I said, I will continue to read her books for a very long time. Let's move on. Coming in at number 3, we have The Bear and the Nightingale. This was absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. I believe I have a spoiler-free review for this as well. And, oh, man, just the quotes in this book about Vasya, her agency. I love, again, we are talking about how much characters are meaning to me. Because Vasya is someone who just feels like she's been told what to do her whole life. And by the end of the book, she's like, I don't care as long as I'm making my own decisions. I don't care. I will do my own thing. Like, just, it's so good. But it's also got lots of like Russian mythology. It's a very cold setting. It's just so beautiful. The cover evokes the vibe of the book, in my opinion, absolutely perfectly. So if this cover appeals to you and a story like this appeals to you, you know, if you've read Strange the Dreamer or maybe Daughter Spoken Bone, if you like writing like that, I would say you absolutely need to read this. I have not read any Naomi Novik, but I hear that she has a similar writing style. I think, yeah, Naomi Novik even blurbed this herself. I definitely want to read some Naomi Novik next year. Just so good. Coming in at number 2, which in October I said it was my favorite book of the year. So something did overtake it. But still at number 2 is And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. This is not something that I connected with the characters to at all. But there's enough here to, oh man, the it's like, what is so fascinating about this is just the idea of trying to pull it off in a way that a cop would come across this scene and just have absolutely no idea how to piece it together. But then Miss Christie hits you with that epilogue and it all clicks in the way that it's just so good. It is so good. It's crazy to me. I know some people read this and they don't really like it, which I guess maybe if you're really interested in character work in mystery wouldn't work for you as much, but just the idea of this book alone, like, is so intriguing to me. And I'd always wanted to read this book, but like actually getting to it and actually reading it, like I read it in like 2 days because I was just like the first part of this book, like, you know, the premise of the book is that they're all gonna die one by one. Like, you know, that's the premise. But at the beginning, they don't know who's causing it, what's causing it. Is it one of them? Is it someone else on the island outside looking in? Like, it's so mysterious. It's just so good. It's just so freaking good. And finally, my absolute #1 favorite book that I have read this year that I have heavily annotated, but I cannot tell you because this is published by HarperCollins, and I mean, I will tell you it's the Poppy War, but I'm not going to review the book, I'm not going to discuss the book. Just know that you should look into the HarperCollins union strike. You shouldn't be reviewing their books, you should be pointing people to their thing. People are simply asking for a living wage, that is all they're asking. Crazy that like the author of this book herself is like at these rallies. It's insane. You should read into it, look into it. I will try to link the Instagram of the HarperCollins Union in my description below, but I will not be reviewing the book and talking about why it's so amazing until the strike is over. So that's all I can say for now. So in my description, I will leave my Instagram, my Goodreads, and my Twitter. It will all be there for you to check out if you care. Otherwise, have a great day. Bye.